Okay, matriculants, we are looking at the proportionality theorem. So the theorem states that if you have a line, in this case it's line KB, so if KB is parallel to one side of a triangle, KB is going to divide these two sides proportionally. In other words, it's going to divide those two sides in such a way that you have the same ratio. So this implies that the ratio of this side over this side, so it's the ratio of AB over BC, will be the same as the ratio of this side over this side. Notice that I'm dividing the longer side with the shorter side on both sides. So the order of the sides have to correspond in order for you to get that same ratio. So this will be the same as AK over KE. Now you can get other arrangements from this. You can say the length of AC over BC, right? It's the same as the ratio of AE over AK, right? Notice that I'm dividing the longer side with the shorter side on both sides. So it's AC over BC, which is the same as AE over KE. So this is the same ratio, right? Right. So however you want to divide, well, someone can say, well, the ratio of BC over AB, well, this is of course equal to the ratio of KE over AK, right? KE over AK. That's KE over AK. So however you want to get your ratios, for as long as you correspond those ratios on the other side. So if you have a line that is parallel to one side of a triangle, well, the ratios on these two sides will be the same. So you can use any ratio that you want on those two sides, depending on what you want to solve. Right, now let's use this example. They're asking us to solve for x. Now let's use this proportionality theorem to find that value of x. So we're going to say that we know that LJ over HL, well, is equals to KI over HK, right? Remember, you have to provide your reason. So in this case, it's prop theorem. And remember, when you use this reason, you have to state your parallel lines. In this case, it's KL, which is parallel to JI, right? Right, so you can use the other reason which states that line parallel one side of a triangle. So that reason will also be acceptable in this case. So we just substitute. We know that LJ is x over HL, that's 6, which is equals to KI, that's 5. HK, that's x plus 1. So if we cross multiply, we have x and x plus 1, which is equals to 6 by 5, that's 30, right? So this is going to be x squared plus x minus a 30, which is equals to a 0. So if we try to factorize here, factors of x squared, that's x and x, right? So factors of 30, that's 6 and 5. And of course, the 6 is going to be positive, and this one is going to be a negative, right? So we can see that product of the inner terms to that if you add the product of the outer terms, you get the middle term. So our factorization is spot on, is correct. So now the values of x will be x, which is negative 6, or x, which is positive 5. Now, one of these two answers, you can see that it doesn't make sense at all. Remember, x, it's a length. So if you look at this length here, it can be negative, right? So a length can be negative and it can be 0. Otherwise, this side wouldn't exist if it's a 0. So it can be negative, it can be a 0 as well. So the only acceptable answer in this case, so this one you're going to say not applicable in this case. So the value of x in this case will be 5, right?